You've done this before. The Sunday night resolution, the new alarm, the cold shower, the rules you copy from the man who yells about discipline online. And for about 9 days, it works. Then a hard week comes. The whole thing quietly dies, and you're back in the chair at 11 at night, telling yourself the same sentence you always do. I just have no discipline. I want to take that sentence away from you, because it's a lie. You are not missing some muscle other men were born with. You've been forcing a machine that was never built to run on force. So here's the question that should stop you. Why can a man who can't get off the couch for his own health run into a burning building for his child without a half-second of hesitation? Same man, same body, no willpower. What changed? By the end of this, you'll know exactly what changed. Stay with me. Let's start with the burning building, because it breaks the whole illusion in 1 second. Picture the man who has no discipline, the one who failed every diet, abandoned every routine, bought the program, screenshotted the rules, lasted 9 days, then quit. You know him. Some nights, you are him. Now put his child in a room full of smoke. He moves, instantly. He does not set an alarm. He does not negotiate with himself. He does not need a cold plunge or a man on his phone yelling about excuses to find the will. His whole body is already moving, into the smoke, toward his kid, before his mind gets a vote. The action just happens, complete, every cell of him behind it. So look at what that means. The willpower was never missing. Running into that fire for his child, he had infinite willpower, more than any guru on earth could sell him. The exact same man, the exact same body, the one who can't make himself do anything, just did the hardest thing a human can do without a flicker of force. Now, cut him back to a normal Tuesday. Same man, same body, 11 at night, on the couch, knowing he should move for his own health, and the body will not go. The legs are concrete, the remote is heavier than the child was. And you feel that contrast in your own chest, don't you? Not as an idea, as a weight. Here's what changed between the fire and the couch. It wasn't his discipline, it was his reason. With his kid in that smoke, the reason was real, and it was his, and his body believed it without being asked. On the couch, the reason, like health, should, or be better, are words with nothing underneath it. His body checks the word for fuel, finds none, and stays put. That is not laziness. That is a system working exactly as built. This is the thing the gurus get backwards, and it costs men their whole 20s. They sell discipline as the cause, the input, the muscle you grind in the dark until you finally have enough of it to deserve the life you want. It is none of those things. Discipline is a symptom. It is what shows up on its own, with no force at all, when the reason underneath the action is real and it's yours. 2 psychologists, Deci and Ryan, spent 40 years proving why. We'll get to them. But you don't need the study yet. You've already lived it. You felt it in the doorway. So hear this, because it's the sentence that takes the weight off your chest. You do not have a discipline problem. You have a reason problem. And nobody sells you the fix for that, because find the reason that's actually yours doesn't fit on a supplement label. But notice what that fire just showed you. If your willpower is infinite when the reason is real, then there are clearly 2 completely different things running inside you, and they behave like opposites. One of them is real fuel. The other one runs dry on you every time, right around day 9. The science of that is next, and it'll explain every collapse you've ever blamed yourself for. Here's the science the grind culture skips, and it's the part that proves everything I just told you. Motivation is not one substance. There are 2 completely different fuels, and they behave like opposites. And the whole reason you keep collapsing is that nobody ever told you which one you've been burning. 2 psychologists, Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, spent 40 years mapping this. It's called self-determination theory, and it is one of the most replicated findings in motivation science. Not a hot take, not a guru's opinion, 4 decades of measured data. The short version is this. There is extrinsic motivation, which comes from outside you: reward, punishment, pressure, shame, the fear of what other men will think when you fail. And there is intrinsic motivation, which comes from inside. The thing you do because it's yours, because the doing itself is an expression of who you actually are. Now look at your 9-day cycle, because that's extrinsic fuel running in real time. What actually got you off the couch on day 1? Be honest, it was a gun to your own head. Do it, or you're a loser. Do it, or you'll die fat and alone. Do it, or you're the soft man you're afraid you already are. And it worked, for a sprint. The gun always works for a sprint. You got the alarm, the cold shower, the motion, but every single action cost you because you were paying for it in fear and self-disgust, and that tank is small. So the first hard week comes, the tank hits empty, and the whole structure falls over. You weren't weak. You were running an engine on a fuel that always runs out. Intrinsic fuel does not behave that way because the action isn't a withdrawal, it's a return. Picture the man building something he genuinely wants. Nobody has to whip him to the desk. There's no alarm screaming at him, no shame holding the gun. The thing pulls him. He's not spending energy to act. He gets energy from acting. Same desk, same hours, but opposite physics. And here is the part that should genuinely disturb you because it isn't a theory. It was measured, repeatedly, under controlled conditions. Take a person who already wants to do something. They like it. They do it for free. Now start paying them for it. Deci ran this in 1971 with a puzzle people enjoyed. Lepper ran a version with kids who already loved drawing with markers and rewarded them for it. What happens to the internal drive? It doesn't grow, it drops, and when you remove the reward, they do the thing less than before you ever paid them. The external pressure didn't add fuel. It replaced the good fuel with the cheap one, and then the cheap one ran out and took the original drive down with it. They call it the over-justification effect. Sit with what that means for you. Every time you stood over yourself with shame and forced it, every no excuses, every time you called yourself soft to make yourself move, you may have been burning down the exact thing that would have carried you. The forcing didn't just fail, the forcing may have killed the want. So this is the question that should bother you for the rest of this video. If forcing it kills it, what are you actually supposed to do instead? Because just want it more is useless advice. You can't will a want into existence by gritting your teeth at it. That's the next 10 minutes. And if you've run that 9-day cycle more times than you can count, and every single time you blamed yourself, that is exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe and stay with me, because this next part is the one that takes the weight off your chest. Let's talk about the tough guys yelling at you, because they're not lying, they're just selling you the fuel that runs out. The discipline pill, the 4 a.m. alarm, the cold plunge, the no excuses grind, works. For some men, it works spectacularly, and the internet is built so those are the only men you ever see. Here's what nobody tells you about them. Their discipline isn't the cause of anything. It's a symptom. Underneath the grind, there's a reason that's already real and already theirs. They're terrified of going back to where they came from, or they genuinely love the work, or there's a person they will not let down. The discipline is just what that real reason looks like from the outside. They're not stronger than you. They're fueled differently, and the cruel part is they don't even know it. So they preach the part you can see, the cold water, the 4 a.m., and leave out the part that's actually carrying them, because the why was theirs, and a why can't be sold. So they sell you the only thing left, the pressure. Do it, or you're a loser. Do it, or you'll die fat and alone. And it moves you for a sprint. But pressure, approval, the eyes of other men watching to see if you flinch, that's all coming from outside you. Same fuel from a minute ago, extrinsic, which means it drains. It has to. Here's the tell. Watch what happens to a discipline-pilled man the day the external pressure vanishes. The breakup that lit the fire finally closes over. He hits the number, the crowd stops watching, and the whole structure just falls over, quietly, overnight. There was never a reason underneath it that belonged to him. Scaffolding with no building inside. Now look at where that puts you. Every time you ran the 9 days and broke on the 10th, the same culture that sold you the costume had an explanation ready. You didn't want it bad enough. You're soft. You don't have what it takes. And you believed it. You filed every collapse under character flaw and reached for the next program to fix the broken thing in you. But there was no broken thing. The machine sold you the one fuel guaranteed to run out, and then billed you for the moment it ran out. It charged you for a failure it engineered. That's not a flaw in you. That's the business model. So hear this clearly, because it's the whole turn. You are not graduating out of strength. You're not too weak for the grind. You're graduating out of borrowed discipline, the kind that needs a gun to your own head to function, into the kind that needs no gun at all. But that raises a harder question, and it's the one that's actually been haunting you. Because some of those reasons felt like yours. You chose that goal. You swear you did. And it still won't move you. There's a specific psychological reason your reason is fake. It has a name. And once you see it, you can't unsee whose voice your goals have actually been in this whole time. So why is your reason fake? Almost always, because it was never yours. You didn't choose it. You inherited it. And you've been carrying it so long you mistook it for your own. Deci and Ryan have a precise word for this. Introjection, a goal you swallowed whole from someone else and never digested. You took it in, but you never made it yours, so it sits inside you as a felt obligation, not an owned choice. You think you want it. What you actually want is to stop being judged for not wanting it. And your body can tell the two apart, even when your mind can't. That gap is exactly why you can't move. Let me run the test on you, right now. Take the thing you keep failing to do, the gym, the business, the book, the early mornings. The one that makes you wince a little just reading the list. Now ask one question and don't answer with your mouth. Answer with your chest. Whose voice is that goal in really? Is get lean yours? Or is it your father's contempt, still playing on a loop 20 years after he stopped saying it out loud? Is build the business yours? Or is it a number, a specific number, that you need to hit so a specific person from your past finally has to respect you? Is wake up at 5 yours? Or is it a man on your phone you've subconsciously decided is more of a man than you are? Here's the tell, and you can feel it land. The goal has a should in it. I should be further along. I should be more disciplined. I should want this by now. And underneath the should, if you go looking, there's a flinch. A small bracing like you're about to be caught. That flinch is the giveaway. Should is almost always someone else's voice wearing yours, and you cannot pour real fuel into a should. This is the part I need you to actually hear, because it's the opposite of everything you've been told. Your nervous system will not catch fire for a goal it can feel doesn't belong to you. It can't. It won't burn your one life on a reason it knows isn't yours. So it gives you 9 days of compliance, and then it shuts the engine off to protect you. And you stand there in the wreckage of another collapse and call that laziness. It was never laziness. It was self-respect. A deeper part of you refusing. You just never recognized it, so you punished it. So if borrowed reasons are the problem, you need the real one. But here's the trap waiting for you. The real reason is usually never the goal you started with. It's buried underneath it. And there's a simple, uncomfortable way to dig it out. You'll feel the exact moment you hit it, because it lands in your body, not your head. So if the borrowed reason can't move you, you have to go find the real one. And the real one is almost never the goal you wrote down. It's buried under it. You have to dig. The shovel is one question, and it's so simple it sounds like nothing. Take the goal you keep failing at and ask, for the sake of what? Then take the answer and ask it again, and again. You keep asking until you hit something that doesn't have a further answer underneath it, because it isn't a means to anything else. It's the floor. It's the thing the whole stack was standing on the entire time. Let me walk you down your own ladder. Watch what happens. I want to get in shape. For the sake of what? So I look better. For the sake of what? So I stop feeling invisible. For the sake of what? So I can walk into a room and not disappear. So my kid sees a father who takes up space instead of apologizing for existing. Stop. That last one. That's the reason. Feel what just happened in your chest. That drop, that catch. Get in shape never moved you because it was the top of the ladder, and the top of the ladder is always air. A father my son doesn't have to worry about. That's the bottom. That's the burning building. That one has a body behind it. There's a should that lives in your head. It's flat. You can argue with it, negotiate it down, snooze it for 9 days, and feel nothing but a low static of guilt. A because lives in your body. When you say the real one out loud, something tightens. Your throat, your eyes, the back of your neck. That tightening is the engine turning over. That is the felt difference between the fuel that runs out and the fuel that doesn't. You have spent years trying to motivate yourself with shoulds and wondering why nothing caught fire. Nothing caught fire because there was nothing under the should but more should. Viktor Frankl understood this from the worst place a man can understand anything. He survived the concentration camps in Auschwitz, and he watched closely, and what he saw broke the willpower story for good. It was not the strongest men who lived. The strong ones broke like everyone else. The men who lived were the ones who had a why waiting for them on the outside, a wife to find, a manuscript half finished, a child who needed a father to come home. A reason out ahead of them, pulling. The man with a why could endure almost any how. The man with only his own grit and no reason underneath it would lie down one morning and simply stop. And there it is, the line you heard at the very start of this, now with a body behind it. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. That isn't a poster. It's a survival mechanism, observed under conditions that strip every other one away. So hear this plainly. Meaning is not the reward you earn after the discipline. Meaning is the engine the discipline was always meant to run on. You've had it backwards your whole life. You have been trying to bench press your way to a feeling that only a reason can give you. Now you have the reason. The real one, the one with the body behind it. But a reason alone can still flicker and die if the conditions around the action are wrong. And most men kill their own reason without ever knowing they're doing it. Deci and Ryan found the 3 exact conditions that make the doing nearly effortless. And the 3 you've been violating every single day. That's next. Now you have the real reason. So how do you make it actually run the engine every day without the whip? I told you willpower is just the emergency backup generator for a life with no real power running through it. This is where we run the real power. Because Deci and Ryan didn't only find that the inner fuel matters. They found the 3 conditions that generate it. 3 needs. Get them right and the action stops feeling like a fight. Get them wrong and you're back on the generator, white-knuckling, 9 days from empty. 3 moves. Each one is a rewrite of the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening. 1. Autonomy. Stop ordering yourself around like a drill sergeant. That voice, get up, you lazy piece of work, move. That's not discipline. That's the gun, pointed inward. And your nervous system treats it exactly like a threat from outside, which means it drains the cheap fuel and nothing else. So catch every I have to and turn it into I'm choosing to because, and then finish the sentence out loud. Not in your head, out loud. I'm not forcing myself to the gym. I'm choosing to become a man who takes up space, and this is how. Same alarm, same cold floor, completely different engine. The word choose isn't a mind trick. It's you taking the goal back from whoever you swallowed it from. 2. Competence. You need to feel yourself getting better, or the fire goes out. This is the quiet killer. Most men set a target so enormous that the gap is all they can see, so every single day reads as failure before they've even started. Then they call that constant low-grade failure ambition, and they wonder why they feel like garbage by Thursday. That's not ambition. That's a daily dose of shame wearing ambition's clothes. So shrink the target until you genuinely cannot fail it. Not transform my body. Show up. Do the minimum. Today, let the small wins stack until momentum is doing the lifting. A felt win is real fuel. A giant unmet goal is poison you keep drinking on purpose. 3. Relatedness. You are not built to do this alone in the dark, no matter what the lone wolf men told you. Isolation is exactly where discipline goes to die. The reason gets real the moment it leaves your skull and lands in another human being. So say it to one person. 1. The reason you dug up, say it to someone who'll remember you said it. That single sentence changes the whole category of the thing. And if you want that excavation done properly, the full for the sake of what, dug all the way down to the because with a body behind it, then built into 3 real moves, that's the work we keep doing here. So if this is landing, subscribe and stay with me. This is the part most men skip, and it's the part that decides everything. Autonomy, competence, connection. That's the fire, not the alarm, not the cold water, not the man yelling on your phone. So you've got the reason, and now you've got the conditions. Which leaves one question. What does the finished man actually look like? And how will you know when you've become him? Because there are 2 kinds of men who look identical from the outside, both up early, both training, but only one of them is free. The difference is the whole point. Picture 2 men. From the outside, you can't tell them apart. Both up before the sun, both training, both building something. Same hour, same cold floor, same dark. But watch them long enough and they split into opposites. One of them is being driven. There's a whip at his back and he's holding it. Shame swings it. Fear swings it. The eyes of other men swing it. He is always one bad week from an empty tank, and on the inside he is tired in a way sleep doesn't touch. He is secretly, quietly exhausted, and he calls that exhaustion discipline. He's proud of it. The other man is being pulled. Something out ahead of him is drawing him forward, a reason that is genuinely his, and the work barely costs him anything because it isn't a cost. It's an expression. It's just what a man like him does. Ask him about his discipline and he'll look at you a little blankly. He rarely thinks about it. There's nothing to force. Here's what I need you to hear. You've spent years trying to become a better driven man, a harder whip, a louder alarm, more rules, more shame, a stricter version of the same machine. And every time it collapsed, you read the collapse the same way, that you weren't driving hard enough. The problem was never that you weren't driving hard enough. The problem was that you were driving at all. So stop looking for a harder whip. There isn't one that works. Go find the reason that's actually yours, and the discipline you've chased your whole life shows up on its own, the way it always does in the doorway of a burning building. That's the whole thing. That's everything I came here to tell you. And I'll say it the way I promised I would, back at the end of the last one, because it makes a lot of men angry before it sets them free. You don't lack discipline. You never did. You lack a reason you haven't let yourself say out loud yet. So before you close this and go looking for one more program to fix you, sit with that. Say it. The real one. The one with a body behind it. If this loosened something, do one thing before you go. Subscribe. Not for a quick fix or a program, but so the next piece of this finds you when you need it. There's more coming, and it cuts deeper each time. And tell me in the comments, when you ran the ladder just now, what was at the bottom? What's the real reason? Next time, the anger you think you've mastered by hiding it. Why the calm, controlled man is often the most dangerous one in the room, and what Carl Jung knew about the thing you bury. I'll see you there.